It's time to panic as Mariners fans after what we just watched during the last 10 or so, 15 or so games. We're going to talk about that after we break down this Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland series. What can we expect out of this team moving forward? Are these guys going to be sellers at the trade deadline? And everything else you can think of for Is It Time to Panic? Then Joe's going to give you his Operation Overreaction right before we talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks series starting on Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 197 of the Hit It Here podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And this is the Nikolai and Jessica episode of the podcast. I met them in town the other day. And just a friendly reminder, we are going to be doing a charity stream on the 21st of this month from 1 to 4, right? 1 to 4?
Yep.
For the Lambert House, a King County LGBTQ plus charity. So be sure that you guys are there for that. If you'd like to donate, we'll have the link there as well. And I am here with my dear friend Joe and Joseph. It's hot.
Dude, it's way too, it's too damn hot. Milk. By the end of this podcast, I may very well be sweating. So audio listeners, listen. If there's ever a time to come to the video portion of the podcast, maybe this is the people. You don't think people are into that?
I don't know if they want to see you sweat.
Hey, some people are into some weird stuff. Just like us as Seattle Mariners fans watching this baseball team go into Anaheim and drop the first 2 games of a 3-game set where it felt like maybe you should have been able to sweep this Anaheim Angels team, right? We're masochists as Mariners fans. We just go in there, we watch the games, they disappoint us, and we say, again, again. I don't know how the first 2 games, the amount of back and forth, like Mariners get a lead, first game, Bryce Miller gets it right back. I was like, oh, sure. They'll get the lead again. Oh, they get the lead again. And then they give it right back. It was the first 2 games, those exact, it was 3 innings in a row that happened. Bryce Miller, 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. I think he has one more chance. He's just asking us for one more day. And I think he gets one more start. And if it does not go well, he will be on the injured list or he will get optioned, is my likely thought process there. But Cal, Julio, I think pretty usual suspects in this game as far as offense is concerned. Ben Williamson did go 2 for 3, was 2 of the runs scored. I don't know. I just don't know how you get a lead and then you give it right back.
Kyle Hendricks kind of carved up the Mariners in this one. I mean, he didn't pitch great, but he did allow 4 runs. And I don't know, man, like you mentioned with Bryce, Logan Evans is just the better option right now. Bryce only struck out 2 in this start. He gave up 6 hits with 5 earned and 1 walk. And his velo wasn't down as much, at least from what I heard. I actually didn't really get a chance to watch a whole lot of this game. But his velo wasn't down as much as it was in his previous start. But nonetheless, it was still down to, I want to say it averaged out to 93 or something like that. Went down from his 95, 96. So there's something there, man. He's trying to work through it, and I agree with you. He gets one more start and go from there. If you got to put him on the injured list, call up Logan Evans, do it. I think that Bryce Miller is not giving you the best chance to win right now. Logan Evans gives you a better chance to win day in and day out. You got to move on from Bryce Miller. That brings us to game 2, where in this one, Luis Castillo took the mound, and for a little bit of the game, for the first inning, I felt good about that.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just fell off. The Mariners did score 3 runs in that first inning, courtesy of who else but Cal Raleigh hitting a home run to right field. They tacked on another one in the top of the second inning. But after that, it was, 2, 4. It was 6 unanswered runs from the Los Angeles Angels, Joe.
The early game offense for the Mariners is always so encouraging every single time you start the game. And then you watch innings 3 through 7, and they look like a completely different team a lot of the time. I didn't get to watch much of either of these first 2 games. I was working for both of them, but just looking at box scores and kind of keeping tabs on game day and just oh, the Mariners got a lead. Awesome. It was so debilitating every single time watching them give up the lead back and forth. It was like the ping pong, the seesaw, the pendulum swinging type games. I don't like them, especially in games or against teams that you're not really expecting them to put up as much of a fight. The Angels were fighting in this series. Give credit where credit is due. The Angels played like a better team for 2 out of these 3 games, and they won both those games, I'd say. And I don't know how much of the errors in the second game really impacted the final outcome. I don't know. Like, again, I don't know what the errors were. I see 2 on the box score. I see Castillo only with 4 earned, but I think he actually end up giving up 6 total runs, but only 4 earned. Obviously, the final scoreline being 6-8 here. If there's 2 unearned runs, how much does that factor into the final outcome of this game? I mean, Cal had another 2-homer game. Like, he can only do so much before the cup kind of runneth over. Julio also a scary moment in this one, stealing third, ball hit by Randy, hits him off the ankle, and it's like, oh, fantastic. Like, what else could go wrong in this very moment? But that ended up not being as big of an issue, but Julio did leave this game in the 3rd inning, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, Taveras replaced him, and I think in the following inning, which was the 3rd. What I think Taveras is also part of the error crowd here.
Yeah, that moment when Julio got hit by that ball. First of all, I'm pretty sure it's the same ankle that he sprained last year, if I remember correctly. So that hurts. But costly because had Julio not gotten hit by that ball, he would have scored. I mean, I don't think there's really anything he could have done. He was trying to steal third. He had his head down and was running. That's what you do in that situation. You're not looking for a ball like that. It's so happenstance that ball hit him in the first place. Because of that, Julio was pulled out of the game. And the very first batter of the next inning hits a line drive out to center field that Leody Taveras, if he would have got a good jump on it, would have been able to make a pretty easy catch. Instead, he kind of started back and then had to run in and then realized he wasn't going to get it, so tried to stop the ball in front of him. It bounced up off his knee, rolled into left field. Oh. So then the runner advanced on that one. That's 1 error.
Got it.
I believe it was the same inning. There was like a little swinging bunt drop down. Cal goes to get it. He kind of makes a throw to first base, throws it in the baseline. Rowdy can't catch it for whatever reason. That's error number 2. Error number 3, which isn't in the box score, but nonetheless, this is an error in my opinion, because Leody Taveras would tell you he should have caught this baseball. He had to jump a tiny bit to get up there to try to catch it at the wall. He should have caught it. It was in his glove and then it was out of his glove. And that resulted in a couple of runs there, which I believe were probably the 2 unearned runs. Okay. And like you mentioned, the Mariners end up losing this game by 2. Had Julio Rodriguez not been hit by that ball, I'm 99% sure they win this game.
Interesting.
That was the moment, because he would have scored, so that'd be an extra run for the Mariners.
Yeah.
He would have probably made both catches in center field. Just had he not been injured, the Mariners probably win that baseball game. Some pretty good offensive showings here. JP was 2 for 4. Julio was 2 for 2 before he got hit. Cal, like you mentioned, with the 2 home runs. Randy was 3 for 5. He continued that in game 3. We saw Cole Young get his 2nd and 3rd hit.
Yeah,
one in the major leagues, his first doubles.
Yeah,
his first double. He almost. I thought he got it. I thought he hit it out, but it just didn't make it quite so far. But yeah, in this game, Jackson Kowar came in, walked 3, gave up a hit, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout. Only went 2/3 of an inning. Was pretty bad in this one.
Was that his third outing in a row?
I think so.
Okay,
something like that. And I think he ended up throwing 30 or 40 pitches in it. It was bad. And Trent Thornton, it took him forever to get up, it felt like. And then he was able to go 2 1/3 in this one, only gave up the 1 run. But nonetheless, just an all-around failure in this game. There's obviously key moments that you can point at, but game 3, we finally got to talk about something fun. Listen, during the stream after game 2, okay, I said, if you guys got to take tomorrow off from watching us, from watching the Mariners, be my guest.
So that's why the viewership was lower on my stream,
right.
Huh? Wow.
That's right. I said, trust me, I wish I could take a day off from watching this team right now. I mean, I could. Who's going to stop me? But this is kind of our job, And I'm like, man, and I found myself at work today game on my phone. I got games on my phone, and I'm watching it. And the Mariners were able to pull this one out, Joe.
14 strikeouts, a career high for George Kirby. The best start given in by a Mariners starter this year, maybe. Potential. Logan Evans, 8 innings, maybe rivals it as well. I'm sure there's a Gilbert or O'Brien Wu starting there that could be thrown into the mix, but 14 strikeouts does not go unnoticed. Only 2 hits given up by George. The runs 2 earned were on a Taylor Ward homer. That was it for the Angels offense in game 3. Mariners struck out 18 of the Angels hitters today. 18 of the 27 outs recorded via the strikeout. Pretty impressive stuff. It's always nice when you get 7 innings out of a starter and you can go to Brash and Munoz, finish it out, because that usually is signed, sealed, delivered, a Mariners W. And that's exactly what it was in this game. The Mariners put together 11 hits, only scored 3 runs. 11 left on base in this game. I think they went 4 for 16 runners in scoring position, so it could have been more. They could have played add-on, but the 3 runs that they got in this game ended up being enough. A Donovan Solano go-ahead RBI. Like, in this economy, Donnie loves gay people. I'm just going to throw it out there, okay? Donnie Barrels, he loves the gays. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is, okay? A much-needed win in a series that could have been as big of a season-ending series as any other that we'd play from now until the end of the year. Like, they get eliminated on game 162. You would look back on the series played from June 6th to June 8th against the Angels in Los Angeles and be like, damn, they got swept and they're now eliminated on game 162. You are looking at this series as a missed opportunity. And not that the team played particularly well. It's not like the big blow-up losses from the bullpen in the National Series or the Twins, the first game of the Twins series. But this is an interdivisional opponent, and they're the Angels. Yes, they're playing better as of recently. They played better than you in this series, but you are a better, more complete baseball team than the Angels. They should have won this series flat out, full stop. I'm glad that they salvaged the final game. The offense still could have done better. I'm glad that the pitching looked extremely sharp. I still don't know if they can, replicate this, because they have not shown me that is part of their, within their capacity for right now as a baseball team. The replication of every single night out, you're getting a different team every single game, it feels like right now. And if we get more of this team, it's one that we're pretty familiar with. Low scoring, 1-run game where the pitching absolutely locks it down. I'll take more of those wins, but I'd be damned if I said I didn't miss the April offense, because it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if George is back, right? If this was the start that kind of solidifies that he's back, then that's a fantastic sign.
That's a George
for this
W.
team. That's a joy. That's a joy. Wow, that was good. Okay, you know what? That was good. Well done. Well done. I will say, however, going into Sunday, all right, the team had lost 5 in a row, and they'd lost 12 of their last 17.
Good stuff.
They have been in a free fall, and this is the soft part of their schedule until they make it to the All-Star break, basically. After this series versus the Diamondbacks, it's not going to be easy the rest of the way. You're not going to have, Nationals, Orioles, Angels, Diamondbacks. Literally 4 below 500 teams in a row that you should have beat up on. And the Mariners salvaged 1 game against the Nationals, got swept by the Orioles, and nearly got swept by the Angels. It's time to panic for this team. They are going to enter on Monday 2.5 games back of the Houston Astros in the division. Monday, June 9th, 6-9. Great day.
Wow.
Wonderful day, 6-9. That's the number. But when it comes to the way this team's been playing lately, it's, and I think that, I think it was Brady Farkas, who put out a tweet that said, I'm all for blaming, Stanton and Jerry DiPoto, but this and what we've seen over the past, 20 days or whatever it is, this is on the players. You have to put blame on Andres Munoz, on Luis Castillo. Randy hasn't been playing his best, etc. The only person you can't put blame on is Cal Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only person. Everybody else shares in the blame for how this team is playing right now, and I'm not sure how they come out of it. What do you expect, Joe, going up into the All-Star break? What can you expect from this team? Because we don't know who they are.
That's the hard that might be the hardest question to answer right now as a Mariners fan, as someone who's watching the majority of the games when I can, and obviously like talking about it at least twice a week at a minimum. What can I expect out of them? They haven't shown me a consistent level of anything, from the offensive side of the ball, from the pitching side, to making like shaking up things with the lineup. Like we rolled out Polo in the 2 spot for what seemed like 5 too many games and didn't want it didn't they didn't change anything. How long are we going to just allow them to kind of like sit on their hands, if that makes sense? Like, is Dan going to continue to roll out the same systems, the same formulas, and plug them in the same exact way with the same exact numbers in those equations and expect different results? Sure, some things might go your way occasionally. If it's a consistent issue where guys aren't performing or aren't producing in certain spots, it has to come to a point where you need to make some sort of systematic change, a fundamental change with the philosophy or the approach. What do I expect going into the All-Star break? I hope that they're above 500. Do I expect that? I think it's entirely possible. I think with Gilbert coming back, I think with the bullpen having a bit better of a track record for some of the guys that are healthy back there, like having Matt Brash has been very big. I think it's possible. But in that same vein, it's like, if they're in a free fall where, like you mentioned, the 4 series that they played are Nats, Orioles, Twins, Angels, right? There's like the main 4 that we're looking at there. And then we're going to the Diamondbacks, who are also under 500. Like, and they get, what, 4 wins out of the 12 games they just played against those teams? That's not good. Expecting them to go out there and play better ball against Cleveland, against Boston. I mean, they're playing in Chicago against the Cubs. They're on the road in Minnesota. Texas isn't a great team, but they're on the road there. That's how they finish out the month of June, and then they head to they have Kansas City coming home. The opponents are going to get tougher. Will the Mariners be able to rise to the occasion, or will they continue to just kind of like lay on their backs? And that's a question that Ty has mentioned, or proposed a week and a half ago, and they've been laying on their backs ever since. They have not gotten up. I don't know how they're going to be able to stand up.
There are 2 teams, 2 series, the rest of the way, that as of right now, until the All-Star break, the rest of the first half, that are under 500. 2. It's the Rangers and it's the Pirates.
Not counting the Diamondbacks series that's starting today.
Right. Not counting. Yeah. So, like you mentioned, Ty tweeted it. This is where you're going to figure out what Dan Wilson's made of, what this team is made of. And you talked about getting, Logan back, getting even Luke Raley back, who should be going on a rehab assignment next week. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long that's going to take. Hopefully he's back by the end of the month. The one thing that this team has felt like it's been good at all year until the last, 2-3 weeks is bouncing back. And I think that where they're at right now, it began to snowball, which is what we said they can't do. They can't let it snowball. It's been snowballing. It's an avalanche right now.
Snowballs?
Where are all the Twinkies? Name that reference, chat. Name it. There have been a lot of reports coming out recently from, I think, Nightingale and Jeff Passan.
The Mariners are going to be one of the biggest buyers.
Are going to be aggressive buyers at the deadline. I'm sorry, boys. I don't know if you guys have watched this team recently, but if the Mariners are still above 500 at the deadline, we're in a good spot. I'll feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who they would have to sell. Obviously, it's no fun to talk about selling at the deadline, right? That's not what we want to talk about. But this team right now is closer to being a seller than they are to being a buyer, in my opinion.
And that is quite the cause of panic, given what we've heard about reports, and we know how big how stacked the farm system is. They have the draft with the 3rd and the 35th. Like, they can reload it there. With the holes on the team that currently exist, to create more via selling at the deadline, that would, I mean, again, anytime a team is a seller at the deadline, it is kind of like they're waving the white flag on the season. They're like, all right, we're in the second half. We don't see ourselves as contenders. If we happen to play well enough to make a run in the second half, awesome. Look at the Tigers last year. They traded Jack Flaherty. They sold some parts, but then they got hot at the right time. It's entirely possible that a team that sells at the deadline can still go on a run. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. However, the holes that selling can create, and just you're shaving off the top echelon of like your talent pool, more than likely, maybe not the exact top. Like, you're not going to trade Cal, you're not going to trade Julio. I mentioned trading Munoz because like high end leverage relievers are quite the commodity at the deadline. I wouldn't want it. No Mariners fans would want it, I don't think. But I would be very surprised if I didn't think that the front office was listening on calls, right? Selling at the deadline would be, God, it's so bad. It's so bad given how well they've played at certain points during the season and the way that the core is kind of already set up, and with the farm system as it is. Like, selling when you've got a top 3 farm system with talent that's like close enough that can make an impact within the next year or two. Like, selling now just feels so weird. Like, taking a step back this season where you can probably compete in the next 3 to 4 years every single year, given the major league talent that you already have. Like, I don't even want to think about the deadline right now. And that's something I usually enjoy a lot, is like figuring out which pieces the Mariners could be buyers for, because the team has not looked like a buyer. And that's, again, a good cause for panic.
There is one bright side to if the Mariners did have to sell, okay, which is tough to say. We've mentioned that you need to see what you have with Cole Young the rest of the way. You probably need to see what you have with Tyler Locklear. You probably need to see what you have with Harry Ford. If you sell, call all those guys up and let them have it the rest of the year. Let them get their runway. If they take it, great. If not, now you know. And you can go out and address that. You can't keep expecting these guys to be the savior. Look at Cole Young. We expect him to be good, right? It's still very early, but they're gonna have struggles. If they have those struggles in a season where you're already selling, cool. Who cares? You don't want to have them next year. I think that Andres Munoz, God.
No, just don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
I do want to pitch this. I have one question for you before we get to your Operation Overreaction. Larger or smaller than, which would it be if the Mariners were to trade Cal? Would you get a larger package or a smaller package than the Nationals got for Juan Soto?
Smaller.
Nope, I disagree.
Why? Because it's the position?
The position, the amount of time left on the contract, a team-friendly contract. Soto only had 2 years left.
Yeah, I guess you have, his entire extension, sure. Like, I get the logistics behind the argument. I would be hard pressed to find a team that would give you a similar prospect capital back that the Nats got for Soto when he was traded. There's no way. There's no way that it would, again, and maybe I'm thinking about it in the sense of it worked out for the Nats, right? That's probably where the hang up would come in, because I'm imagining the Mariners getting 4 quality major leaguers out of a trade for Cal Raleigh. Sure, it'd be a couple years down the line, but
would it?
I mean, it could be. I think that Soto's younger, has shown a more prolific profile and winning in that same vein. I think that when you trade Soto at that point, they're understanding that he has not reached his apex. He had not reached his prime. He still had room to grow. If this is not Cal Raleigh's prime that we're directly standing in the middle of as he's leading the league in home runs, I would be very surprised. I think that you'd be trading him on a high, which is, again, maybe another cause for your argument to be in the side for Cal Raleigh, but I think name power has a lot to do with this. I think like the prospect hype and the pedigree would have a lot to do with it. And I think age would be a pretty big factor. And yes, time on the contract is important. When the Padres acquired him, did they expect Hit to re-sign him? Maybe. And that's a risk that they had to take. They would not have to take that risk, or whatever team would not have to take that risk if they acquired Cal, because he is already extended, right? I would love to hear a bit more from your side. I still think that you would not get as much as they got for Soto.
Well, I don't agree with that. However, no one's going to be willing to pay what it's going to take to get Cal Raleigh.
Okay.
Cal Raleigh, by WAR, is projected to have a better season than Juan Soto has ever had.
Sure. Yes.
Ever.
Again, you're projecting him based on his prime that he has entered already through this season through 60 some odd games. You are expecting Juan Soto to he's not in his prime, to grow. This is Cal Raleigh at his peak. He's going to come down after this, is like the mindset that a lot of people would probably look at with catcher innings, like just like the time spent being a catcher, how the body's going to break down after that, his age. Again, I hear you. I understand the argument, but I think it is inherently flawed when it comes to baseball and what like player evaluation would look like. Soto was never going to have the same WAR evaluation as a platinum glove defender because he is not a good defender. If you looked at it strictly on a batting, like a WRC plus metric, could Cal's WRC plus by season's end be better than Soto's ever? I mean, not counting 2020 where I think it's over 200. Sure.
17.
Yeah. Like, yes, I can understand that argument from a complete player standpoint. But that's, again, part of like the nuance of this discussion.
Yeah. I mean, Cal's only like a year and a half older than Juan Soto.
When he was traded, Colton, how old was Juan Soto?
He was, and he had a shit year that year too. He was, let's see, 23.
Yes, you're trading Cal when he's 28 or 29. Soto's 23 and getting traded. And you might be expecting the Padres to re-sign him as they acquire him.
At a premium position.
Sure.
As a platinum glover.
Yeah.
Cal is more valuable than Juan Soto has ever been.
I disagree. Fundamentally,
it doesn't
I disagree.
Matter. He's
not getting traded, but yeah,
matter. He's not getting traded.
Sure,
it doesn't matter. But it's a fun exercise to think about.
Like, don't get me wrong. I would rather have Cal than Juan Soto.
Yeah.
If you looked at the profile that you got with Soto, with the run in the World Series at the age of 20, like that, like he entered an echelon that he probably never like realized he could reach with stardom at the age of 20. Cal's entering that at age 29, or again, I don't know how old he is right now. Is he 29? 28, sure. He's 8 years later than Soto, reaching that like media peak. Soto's been in it for 8 years. We've seen the ups and downs, the highs and lows of high school football with Juan Soto, right? We've seen the 217 OPS plus. We've seen bad defense. We've seen him carry teams to postseason rings or postseason like appearances and stuff like that. We've seen him play almost Batman to the best player in baseball, Aaron Judge, at points throughout his time that was a single season with the Yankees. I think Cal Raleigh could go do that same thing right now in New York if he wanted to. He'd probably have 40 homers by now with the short porch.
That's true.
But the value, oh God, dude, it is so difficult because I get what you're saying because of the position. I just don't think people would view it that way as a non-Mariners fan.
They probably wouldn't. I think that let's say we're both on let's say Juan Soto didn't sign this big ass contract that he signed, right? Let's say he signed the exact same contract that Cal Raleigh did. If they were to both get traded this summer, Cal fetches more.
Sure.
Same contract.
Yeah.
Everything.
I get that.
Even though Juan Soto's younger, you know. And not to say that Juan Soto's having a bad year. He's putting up a 131 OPS plus. He's walked 52 times. He's hitting 234, but a 372 on base. You know, he does have 11 home runs. Like, Juan Soto is going to be Juan Soto.
Mm-hmm.
But Cal Raleigh's going to put up not the best catcher season in baseball history, so it doesn't matter.
He's gonna beat Buster's season.
That's right. Juan Soto could be God. It doesn't matter. Cal Raleigh is
the best catcher season in all of baseball, which is better than God, because God never played
God's
baseball.
God.
So
that's right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
man. Anyway, Operation Overreaction, Joe.
Dude, we're skipping that. We're 30 minutes in.
The Arizona Diamondbacks series starts here on Monday. We're gonna see some old friends in this one. Obviously, Gino is gonna be here in this series. Ketel Marte. A lot of fun names on that Diamondbacks roster. Some friendly banter with our dear friend Aaron. In game one, it's Emerson Hancock, Road Warrior Emerson Hancock, against Merrill Kelly.
By the way, Road Warrior Emerson Hancock.
By the way.
Yeah, dude. Friendly, some friendly banter, some exciting reunions. Not, maybe we wish it'd be under better circumstances, Diamondbacks, because under 500 in the National League West, good luck. Your ship has sunk. Your captain needs Tommy John. Like, he can't turn the wheel anymore. Like, the ship is going into like random cavernous, like, just rocks. You're done. It's the Titanic. Okay. Time to sell all your team to the Mariners. Thank you very much. I like the Mariners' chances in this series. I think you're catching the Diamondbacks again at a good time. I wish it was under better circumstances, though. They have scored, I think, the fourth most runs in all of baseball. If I'm doing math really quick, visual math, maybe fifth most runs in all of baseball. They're 3 games under 500. They have a team ERA of 4.86. Their bullpen ERA is over 5. They have a bottom 5 pitching staff in both team ERA and like both splitting starting pitcher and reliever ERA. Their pitching staff has not been able to prevent runs from going on the board. And that's why if you look at their offense, even over the last month where they've kind of started to, like, similar to the Mariners, do a little free fall action, find themselves not as in good of a spot as they wanted to, they have the 4th best offense in all of baseball with a team WRC plus of 117 since May 1st. Yet they are still losing baseball games. They have a negative run differential with the 4th best offense by team WRC plus. Mariners have the 17th best since that in that same time period with a 98. If we go just full season, the Mariners are sitting a bit better. I think they're 6th in all of baseball, and the Diamondbacks are still, I think, above them. But this is going to be a slugfest, and I don't know if that favors the Mariners on the road. I really don't. It's hard to say because the Mariners offense has not looked good. But if there's ever a pitching staff that can make the Mariners offense look good, apparently it's this Diamondbacks pitching staff right now.
Who would have thought going into this season, with how good that pitching staff was looking? We know what Merrill Kelly can do. You're getting him in game one. He's had a pretty good season so far at 3.43 on his ERA with 72 strikeouts. That's probably your toughest pitching matchup, in my opinion. In game two, you do have Brian Wu on the mound. Obviously, we know how good Brian Wu has been. Not as sharp in his last start, but still did make it through 6 innings. And he'll be opposed by Brandon Pfaadt, who is 7-4 on the year with a 5.51 ERA with 51 strikeouts. It's impressive at how bad this Arizona Diamondbacks pitching staff has been, but unfortunately it's also impressive how bad the Seattle Mariners offense has been over the past month and a half.
Yeah, the Brandon Pfaadt stuff, I mean, he's had a couple blow-up starts that have probably inflated his ERA quite a bit. But yeah, he has not been, I guess, as sharp as people expected. I do want to go back to Emerson really quick. A 3.25 ERA on the road this year in 5 starts. 5 starts at
Road
home,
warrior.
a 7.54 ERA. Of course, hugely inflated by his opening week start at home. But again, road warrior Emerson Hancock. You have to like your chances with Brian Wu on the mound in any capacity. He has been your most consistent, your best starting pitcher. Like, he is the guy that you're going to turn to and think if there's ever a pitcher that can go in to Chase Field and shut down one of the best offenses in baseball, it's Brian Wu. And Brandon Pfaadt coming off a pretty rough start. Maybe he's still a little shaky. You get to the Diamondbacks bullpen early. That also has not been very good. Again, under better circumstances, but the Mariners need this series win desperately. You like your chances in game 2, leaving a coin flip for either the first or the third game. Dare I say I trust Emerson Hancock more than I trust Bryce Miller, who gets the ball in the final game on Wednesday against Eduardo Rodriguez. Lefty. Will Donovan Solano start? Probably. Will Mitch Garver start? Probably. They won that game against the Angels where they had their crappy right-handed lineup. Granted, it was a low-scoring affair. Do I expect that on Wednesday against the Diamondbacks? Maybe not. But if there's ever a time that the Mariners can pull off a series win where the vibes have been so low, I mean, that is so Mariners, guys. Right? This would be so Mariners of them to be reeling on the brink of cataclysmic destruction for an entire 2025 season and be like, hey guys, we just beat the Diamondbacks and we held one of the best offenses in baseball to 1 run a game. Thoughts on that? And then they come home and then the vibes could be high again. When you ask me what to expect, I genuinely don't have a clue. I don't have a pulse.
How could you?
Because they have not given us any indication of who they really are.
They've been so inconsistent, and I think that's part of the problem with trying to dissect where this team is going to be come the trade deadline. I do want to mention here that I got distracted, and now I don't remember what I was going to mention.
I'm so hot.
Oh, right. That's right. Speaking of the trade deadline, I worry a little bit that, we see, let's say that Donovan Solano over the next 2 weeks.
Oh,
starts hitting the ball a little bit.
He heats up and they don't get a first baseman.
And they don't get a first baseman because they're like, he's fixed.
We're
Donovan's
good.
back. He's fixed. And then he just goes back to being who he has been all year. And they're like, oh, crap. I should have done something about that. Same with Mitch Garver, had a hit in today's game as well. Right-handed Jorge Polanco, had a couple of hits in this one. Yeah, his swings looked feeble, but hey, he had a couple of hits and drove in a run. So we can't argue with it, guys. He's good. He's back. He's fixed. I just hope that what we're seeing out of a lot of these players, especially when you're going into a series where you should be able to put up some offense, I just hope that it's not giving people a false narrative around Donovan Solano, Mitch Garver, etc. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. We appreciate you guys watching episode 198 of the Hit It Here podcast, and go Mariners.